The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. W's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by W, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. W's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. W Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com.
Coming live from the VIP, heard the nightlife, lost life without me. Coming live from the VIP, heard the nightlife, lost life without me.
Sometimes things just don't work the way you want them to work whenever you get it started. And that's exactly how this show got kicked off. What better way to get the show kicked off than having trouble connecting over to Roku, having trouble with my camera, so I had to get that thing fixed. It was working literally as I pressed play on everything, so I don't know what the hell happened, but nonetheless, we are here. We are live on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. I am going to try to connect to Roku one more time. This is always a massive headache whenever I've got to try to do those things. Want to give a shout out to tallboy_6 saying, how's it going, brother, over on Instagram? How's it going with you? Hope everything is doing well. Tall boy. Again, trying to figure all this stuff out. Let's see if we can finally connect over to the Roku channel. Nonetheless, we are live on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, and of course, now it seems like maybe we're also live on Roku with National Stream Sports. Shout out to our friends over at National Stream Sports. You can catch me later on this evening. It'll be 7 o'clock in El Paso. I will be a part of the Prim and Proper Sports Show, hanging out with my girl Sonia Pearson, B. Skrilla, a couple of other people like that we're going to have on the show. So, how is your bracket doing? Did you actually fill out a bracket? That's always the question. Did you fill out a bracket? And it seems like we're not on Roku today. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to do my thing. Oh, it's such a headache. It's such a headache, guys. I'm trying my best to not be upset. Woosah. Woosah. What's the one from Anger Management? Goose Fraba. I want to start doing that nonsense. But how is your bracket doing? Hopefully, it's not looking too bad. I'll show you all mine. This right here is proof that you don't have to know jack shit about college basketball and you can still be successful. All you got to do is sound good. Make it seem as though you know what the hell you're talking about. And boom, look at that. You're in the 98.8 percentile. And somehow, behind 311, 197 different picks. Like, that's wild to me, man. You got all these other groups of people out there that are just having themselves a good old time, making sure they're trying to win these things for whatever it is that they may have going on. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm trying. I'm not gonna mess with the nonsense anymore. I'm trying to get connected on Roku. It's not gonna happen today. I don't know what it is. Actually, I do know what it is, and that's what makes it so damn annoying. I'll be all right. I will be all right. Maybe, perhaps. We shall see. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at RevAutoCarCare.com. I ran a little late yesterday, so I wasn't able to get Rev Auto Car Care and BetUS in the promo package. But you know what? We're all right. Okay, so you can see by looking at the screen right now, like I said, you don't have to know jack shit about anything to be successful, I guess, at the NCAA tournament picks. I think I'm doing all right with some of my picks. Now, where I went wrong was I trusted Missouri, which I shouldn't have done. But 6 versus 11, you're not really going to take the 11 all that often. I know 5-12 is always a sexy one. 6-11, I've got to look and see how many times that one comes out. And then Arkansas, Kansas. And it was noticeable that I had no clue what the hell I was talking about because I was thinking to myself, why is Arkansas even considered here? And then I had to remember that John Calipari is no longer at the university or at Kentucky. He is now at Arkansas, one of the best coaches in college basketball history, now at Arkansas. So why wouldn't it be? And now I love the matchup between Arkansas and St. John's. Like, I am here for that matchup. I cannot wait to watch that. Texas Tech moving on as well, beating down UMC Wilmington. Games I'm looking forward to later on today, of course, the University of North Carolina taking on Ole Miss. That's going to be a little bit later on today at about 2 o'clock p.m. New Mexico and Marquette. I had New Mexico moving on right here. And the best part about my bracket is even though I had those two teams, Missouri and Kansas, I had those two teams lose. I had them losing in the next round anyway. So it's that's the key, right, to saving your bracket is even if you're wrong, as long as you have that team that was upset losing in the next round, you're good. And I feel like where I'm going to get screwed is that I have Texas Tech, I believe, making it all the way to the damn Final Four. Let's go to the Final Four. I do. I have Texas Tech making it all the way to the championship game. And I like Texas Tech. I'm just worried about St. John's. I think St. John's will be the one that gets me. 25% pick Duke as the champ. Apparently that was the one to try to do. I want to give a shout out to some of my people over at ESPN, some of the people that I worked with over at ESPN. Courtney Cronin with a perfect bracket right now. My guy Freddie Coleman, he and I with the exact same bracket right now as well. Seeing if I know anyone else. Ryan McGee. Hey, I'm beating Ryan McGee, so I'm happy with that one. Michelle Smallman, beating her as well. Stephen A. Smith, beating some Stephen A. Smith. That's always a good time. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of them. I wonder if they have some of the producers on here. They don't. That's sad. I thought they would have my guy Pat Costello on here as he produces the morning show for ESPN Radio. But they don't. Nonetheless, we are continuing through here. I was happy. I don't know if y'all got to see the picture that I shared out yesterday. I had 4 different screens. I'm watching. I'm just overdosing on all of the college basketball tournament stuff going on. Tommy, I know that you're not a big college basketball guy. I'm wondering if you watched any of the NCAA tournament. Thursday, that first Thursday in the NCAA tournament is always one of the least productive days out of the year for people that go to work. I feel like it's up there along with like the Monday following the Super Bowl is like days that you're not going to get any productivity. I feel like, and I don't want to call it a holiday, but I feel like there should be, with everything that your job takes out of you. Tommy Cananza saying nothing. He watched none of it. You will get nothing, and you will like it. You lose. Good day, sir. I always love doing stuff like that, especially whenever my kids are home, because they kind of look through the door like, what the hell is going on? I often think about what their stories about me are going to be as they get older and move on in life, right? Like, they're just going to hang out and be like, my dad was kind of weird. I think the way that I talk about my dad will be like, yeah, my dad ran over himself with a tractor. And I just kind of like move on. And that's a real thing. My dad legitimately ran over himself with a tractor. Who would have thunk it? What they're going to say about me. I'm getting a ton of messages right now. I think that was one of the things too. I knew I was getting a bunch of like something had to happen, because last night I was busy hanging out, doing my thing, and I just started getting message after message after message. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? What could possibly be this important that it needs to get, spoken about the way that it's being spoken about right now? And it must have just been the upsets that were happening in Missouri and in Kansas. But again, a 10 upseeding in number 7, like that's not, at least to me, that's not a huge upset. Once again, I want to give a shout out to the people over at Prim and Proper Sports. I'm going to be a part of that show a little bit later on tonight, Friday night, with the fellas. My dude J-Train, he's not going to be joining us. He's going to be taking care of some business. I hope you get to feeling better, my guy. I know how bad having some of those things, some of those illnesses suck. Okay, so I want to give a shout out to Abel Hernandez, who just tuned in over on Instagram. Remember, we're live over on Instagram as well. I don't know how long I'm going to do the thing over on Instagram, because I feel like I got to watch like 7 or 8 different screens, but it's all good. We're live right now over on Instagram. We might be doing that. That might be coming to an end here shortly. What's up, buddy? Yes, buddy, you can. The best part about being dad, and this is the thing that sucks, is I know it's my voice that woke them up, because it's 8 o'clock in the morning here, and it's a Friday, the last Friday of spring break, and I know that it was my voice that woke them up, and I feel like a jerk for doing it. So we might have like family movie night or something like that tonight. If it's not too bad, I might just put up the projector screen outside. Let's see how that goes. God damn, that sounded super pretentious. Also, not the way that I wanted to welcome our friends over on Roku with National Streaming Sports. Shout out to National Streaming Sports. Check out all the shows, everything they have to offer over on that amazing platform on Roku, National Streaming Sports on Roku. Check them out. Once again, this evening, I will be a part of Friday night with the fellas, hanging out with everyone, talking some sports. I think we're going to actually fill out the old school paper bracket, but we're going to start with the end of this round. So, or at least that was my understanding of it. I got to try to figure out what it is that we're going to be doing next. But Tommy, I wonder if you would be on my side, going back to this topic that I was talking about a little earlier. If we know that there's days where there's not going to be much production, where we know there's not going to be, people in the workplace are not going to be their best or performing at their best, why not just give them that day off, right? Like, you don't have to call it a holiday. It doesn't even have to be paid. I don't think most people would care whether or not it was paid or not. It can be completely voluntary. If you want to go into work, you can go into work. But if you know Since the inception of the NCAA tournament becoming what it has become in the 1990s, going to the 64 brackets or 64 teams, doing the brackets, watching all these games, the same thing with the Super Bowl. If you know that the day after the Super Bowl, people are going to be extremely hungover and doing all these other things, why not just say, you know what? Quote unquote holiday. I'm sure everyone in the United States would understand because let's face it, we are a country that cares way too much about sports. Tommy's saying those days don't exist at UPS. I wanted to apply for a job at UPS. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit later on, Tommy, because I think that'd be something cool. I have what I would say are a pair of the sexiest legs a man has ever been blessed with. Like, these things are good. Like Ron Burgundy says, they're good. And I feel like me wearing those nice little short shorts, those hoochie daddy shorts that UPS has, man, shout out to UPS and the UPS drivers. Tommy, I hope your legs are well taken care of and well manicured, my friend. I'm also assuming that you're a driver, and I know that there's a bunch of other positions that are out there, so maybe I'm just a jerk, which is always a possibility. Want to give a shout out to Britt Mack, who tuned in over on Instagram as well. I always love whenever people have like a profile picture where it's a picture of their cat or their dog. And that always makes me so happy. I don't know why. I love people's pets more than I love most people. We're trying to get the Instagram live going, but all the other stuff. Tommy's saying he's not a driver. I guess I'd have to be a driver, right? I want to be a driver. I gotta be showing off the short shorts and my hoochie daddy shorts, man. Like, I gotta be showing them off. These nice, long, luscious legs for a 5'10" guy. I gotta make sure I'm showing off the legs, guys. He's saying no hoochie daddy shorts for him. Oh man, Tommy. Maybe whenever you get home. I don't know. I don't know what your life is, Tommy. All I know is I would be out in my banana hammock, rocking a tan, making sure I'm nice and tan and all that. Hoochie daddy shorts just throbbing, doing what they do. I feel so bad for people that have no idea who I am coming into the show for the first time, like accessory hoarder _373 over on Instagram, who just hear, yeah, I'm going to be hanging out in my banana hammock, working on my tan. It's supposed to be a show about sports, guys. Sports. There was literally one thing going on yesterday. As a matter of fact, I've got to check out and see if there was any actual news, because I was in just, again, I was post-coital by the end of the night, covered in all kinds of shame glaze. Not going to say what was going to come out of my mouth. Look at that. I'm developing a little bit of a filter, guys. I see news articles coming out here. Deebo Samuel says, I'll repay the Commanders. Trust me, after a trade. I always love that where you trade for a guy and they're like, I'll pay you back. Sure, I quit on the team that drafted me and gave me an opportunity, but I'll pay you back. Thanks, coach. All I need is to just get out on the field. I got your back. Yay. That's such a cheesy ass thing for someone to say. Sorry, that's such a cheesy thing for someone to say. Deebo Samuel's quote is, quote, they put this much trust in me. I can't come in here and let them down. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just and I'm not even a pessimistic person. I'm a very optimistic person. But maybe it's just I've heard that type of stuff before. I think we've all said that type of stuff before. Nah, baby, trust me, I won't do it again. I'm not going to go drinking with the fellas every night. And then a week goes by. She gets tired of looking at your goofy face. She's tired of looking at your hoochie daddy shorts, showing off your legs. You're a man. Be a man. Why are you wearing such short shorts? Your thigh highs. Why are you wearing them like that? Why do you spend more time lotioning up your legs than you do the rest of your body? It's because they look good. I'm a hoochie daddy now. She kicks you out, so now you got to go drinking with the fellas all the time. You come home just plastered drunk, crying, covered in shame glaze because you were watching games at Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm going way too deep and too like too vivid with it that people are going to think this is my actual experience. No, it's not that, guys. Dial it back a little bit. It's not that. Painting a picture with my words. But we've all said it. We've all done it. We've heard someone that said it. I know for me, it was like the disappointing dad that I had that's always like, no. Of course we're going to do that, right? Wow, I just called out my dad. He's 95. He doesn't deserve that. It was a long time ago. I apologize. But it's like, no, of course. Like, I got your back. I'll do this for you. And then you ask him, and you're like, oh, no, I'll never be able to do that. Now you throw like a girl, and you don't know how to ride a bike. Oh, that's funny. I do throw like a girl, but I do know how to ride a bike. So it was only a half truth. I throw like that. But we've all been there, and I feel like that's what Deebo Samuel is doing. Nah, baby, it's cool. I promise I ain't going to mess up ever again. And the Washington Commanders, they traded for him. They put a lot of money into him. They're doing all these things. So, of course, they have to try to believe him. And Deebo Samuel being like, I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. Maybe that's what I should have gone with. Jesus Christ, the amount of people that owe me money still. Oh, Tip, can I borrow $20? I'll pay you back on Monday. And I'll be like, oh, fuck it. Oh, crap. Sorry, Roku. I'll be like, oh, dang. Here you go. Here's your $20. Hopefully you have yourself a good old time. Like an idiot. I'll pay you back, brother. I promise. I'll pay you back. You got any more than $20 bills, man? There's going to be a select group of people that get that joke. And if you get that joke, you are my kind of person. You're going to the same final destination that I am going to as well. Washington, though, did decline the option for the bonus of $15.4 million, which would have allowed the Commanders to spread out Deebo Samuel's cap hit over 2 seasons by adding another year to his deal, but it would have been automatically voided. So it didn't matter whether or not they took it, the option or not. Not too sure why ESPN puts that in the article, but nonetheless, Deebo Samuel being like, look, guys, I'll pay you back. I promise you one day I'll make it worth everything that you want me to do. I'll be here for you, girl. I got your back. It's more than just one night. I'm the man of your dreams. Everyone's heard it. Everyone's said it. The Detroit Lions in the news because they proposed significant changes to the NFL playoff seeding that would largely use the regular season records as the guiding principle rather than division championships, according to a list of potential rule changes the league released on Wednesday. I get it. We've all spoken about this, right? Like that there needs to be different seedings in the NFL because we get tired of seeing the team that wins a crappy division host a home playoff game. And we saw that last year twice with Tampa Bay and with the Los Angeles Rams. And the Minnesota Vikings, despite winning 14 games, had to go on the road, couldn't even get themselves a home game. But if you do that, if you go out and you change the seeding, then now you make division titles worthless. I mean, they already kind of are. Like, what team is hanging up division banners? Right? I guess a team that's never won a Super Bowl. Losers. But if you're hanging up division banners and stuff like that, like it means like you have to win the games in your division. Otherwise, I feel like you have to come up with some different type of metric, right? Like maybe we just get rid of the divisions altogether and the 16 teams in the AFC play against the 16 teams in the AFC. The 16 teams in the NFC play against the 16 teams in the NFC. Like everyone plays against each other. And then you bring in the one random AFC opponent, 2 random AFC opponents. I guess it would be 3 because you only get 15 games out of it. So yeah, it would be 2 to get the 17 game schedule. And maybe you just seed by how you did against your conference, right? Maybe that's what it comes down to. But if you're going to reseed, then you make the division title pointless and useless. And that's the issue that I have as a fan, right? Like, obviously we love our division rivalries. Maybe that's what you do, right? You got the games that you figure out within the conference, and then you play an extra game against your rival, right? So it'd be like Dallas and Philadelphia play each other twice, your main rival, and then whatever team from the AFC. And I guess it would be easy because you can just have the team that finished in like 5th place play against the team that finished in 5th place, and that'll be like the AFC versus NFC game of the regular season, right? It's so difficult for me because I do think that if you win 14 games like Minnesota did, that you should be rewarded with maybe a home game, right? But it's also win your division. I'm definitely one of those people. Win your division. I've seen my team be the beneficiary and the victim of playoff seeding, right? Like we've all seen a team, we all know a team, we've all rooted for a team that's been victimized by these rules. You can win 12 games in your division and still have to go on a road playoff game. But how do you propose keeping the divisions while also saying you shouldn't be rewarded for winning your division? That doesn't matter if your division's great or not. You still won the division. Had a couple messages come in, guys. My apologies. Shouldn't have said the F-bomb. I know. I'm sorry. I can't say it won't happen again because it'll more than likely happen again. And Tommy Kanan's saying, yeah, I think it should just stay the way it is. And like it should. Like it's not perfect, but I think that you wind up creating more imperfections whenever you try to perfect something, right? Like it's like with me. I'm perfect the way I am. But if I went and I got like plastic surgery because I got a big nose, because I'm Egyptian or something, because I got a big nose, like if I went and, did like the laser hair removal or any of that other stuff like that, I'm messing with what is already as good as it's going to get, right? And all it's going to do is just get worse. Look at the college football playoff, right? This season. Oh, we need more than 4 teams. Let's make it a 12-team playoff, but we're going to make it so convoluted that it's not going to be seeded by where they are as the top 12. The team that's from the group of 5 is going to come in and they're going to get a bye week. And whenever they play, they're going to get absolutely destroyed because they shouldn't even be on the level of these teams that are already in the tournament. I thought it was perfect the way it was. 4 teams is good enough. If you can't be in that top 4, and we know, I think we as fans, we know, okay, yeah, most of the time, Georgia, Bama, they're going to beat up whatever group of 5 team goes in there. 99.9% of the time, that's going to happen. It should not have been messed with. Unless you're going to go the NCAA tournament style bracket with college football, which is going to be so hard to do because now you're adding a bunch of extra games. Unless you get it to that perfect symmetry, 64, 32, whatever it is, until you get it to that perfect symmetry, it will never be perfect. And look at how it is with the NCAA tournament. University of North Carolina gets in. West Virginia comes out, says, oh, they shouldn't have gotten in. We're West Virginia. We're better than them. They're going to lose that first game. And what does North Carolina go out and do? They just go around slapping people left and right. They win the first game of the NCAA tournament. They move on in the NCAA tournament, and they are not an 11 seed. I'll go back to that again. They are not an 11 seed. But even with 64, you still have people that think the NCAA tournament isn't perfect. And it is. It's the most fun single elimination tournament that you will come across in all of sports. And that includes hockey and their playoffs. That includes the NFL and their playoffs. Now, if it was a setup like the NBA where you had to win like the best 2 out of 3, obviously you wouldn't have the amount of upsets that you have in college basketball in the NCAA tournament now. But it's still not perfect. It's as close as it's going to get. I don't think they need to expand. I thought some of the things that they said back in 2010 where they're like, yeah, we can expand to 100 teams that can come into the NCAA tournament. Why? Why does a third of college basketball need to be invited to the NCAA tournament. What makes the NCAA tournament so fun at 68 now is the fact that it is exclusive. I don't even think they should have expanded to 68, which means Carolina wouldn't have gotten in. But here we are. To me, still one of the more perfect ones, one of the more perfect brackets you have out there, and people still look at it as though it's imperfect, as though we have to do something to fix it. We have to fix the playoff system. We have to fix the overtime rules because that one game was unfair to the team that I cheer for. So therefore, I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to complain and complain and complain relentlessly because the team that I love isn't getting the respect they deserve. First off, F your team. It's made the way it's supposed to be. Like, I want to go back to sudden death overtime because it was so much more fun that way. Instead, now we're like, oh, how can we make it more palatable for the fans, for the small group of fans that are out there that are always complaining about things? Who cares? They don't like football anyway. They just like their team. Tommy Consa saying, if you're a 5th seed and you won 13 of 14 games, you should have no problem winning road games. Exactly. A 12-5 5th seed shouldn't have a problem beating an 8-9 4th seed on the road. I agree with that 100%. Like, and that's the thing, right? Like, that's where I feel like Minnesota was exposed anyway, right? Like, they lost 4 games. Again, it was the 2 teams. They lost to the Rams and the Lions twice in the season. They just matched up bad with it. Even if you gave Minnesota the home playoff game, I feel like the Rams would have beat Minnesota. It doesn't matter, right? Home field advantage, home court advantage, stuff like that isn't necessarily a real thing. Not anymore. Especially not anymore. Like how many times do we see the road team in a game 7 in hockey or in the NBA win that game? Where back in the day, it didn't necessarily happen that way, right? Look at the Dallas Cowboys whenever they make it to the playoffs. That stadium that should be just full, jam-packed of Dallas Cowboys fans is normally a 50-50 split. That's how a lot of these stadiums are becoming. Maybe not Seattle, maybe not Green Bay, but the vast majority of these stadiums are starting to become 50-50 splits. Just because, okay, well, I don't think I need to go to this playoff game if someone's going to give me $1,000 for my tickets up in the nosebleeds. That's a business decision. And I'm with you on your business because I'd rather watch the game at home anyway. Some games, not all games. Thanksgiving game, I love watching in Dallas at the Thanksgiving game. Tommy Canazza saying he does like the overtime changes, the rule changes to overtime. I get it, right? Trust me, I get it. It's more quote unquote fair. But even with that, how many times have we seen, oh no, there's a controversy here. Something's wrong. Blah, 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 blah. Tommy's saying he wasn't a fan of sudden death overtime where a team can get into field goal range and win the game. Okay, well, this would be my one change to sudden death. It can't be a field goal, it has to be a touchdown. It can't be a field goal, it has to be a touchdown. Endo discussion. We're taking field goals out of the equation. It has to be a touchdown. Because then I feel like you actually earned it, right? That would be the one rule. Get into overtime, your kicker is useless. He kicks the ball off, that's all he's going to do. Make it a touchdown. You have to score a touchdown to win. Go back to sudden death, but you got to have a touchdown to win. And I feel like that's going to make it better, right? Because now you have to go for it on every 4th down. Now the fans are going to be more engaged in it. I love the fact, and I also lament the fact, that in the NFL, it's basically come down to guys that kick a field goal. And this has been one of the reasons why, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I'm constantly making fun of Harrison Butker. It's because for whatever reason, he aligns with people and their ideologies. And because Harrison Butker aligns with these people's ideologies, he has now transcended what we have always done, which is make fun of the kicker, to, oh no, he's the manliest of men. A kicker, which has never, throughout the history of sports, been someone that we look at and say, that right there is a manly man, outside of Sebastian Janikowski, who was the everyman, just out there getting hammered drunk and doing everything that we do. Nowhere in human history have we been like, that little fragile kicker right there is the definition of masculinity. But because he aligns with someone's ideology, now they're going to be on his side, as though he is the God sent down from heavens themselves to deliver them from the evils of the world that surround them, because how dare women go out and get an education? Sorry, no, I'm not supposed to do this stuff, Roku. I apologize. My point is, when the game comes down to the smallest guy on the field, it's not fun. Tommy's saying, isn't that what it kind of is now? Yeah, but they have the field goal kick out there. I don't want the field goal. No field goals. Get rid of the field goal. No field goal. You get the touchdown, you score, you win. End of discussion. No, none of this back and forth stuff like that. It's I guess we can say it's sort of like that now. Tommy Cananza saying, behave, Mike. I know. I'm sorry. I think I might also cut that clip up because it's been a while since I picked on Harrison Butker. His last name is Butker. Anyway, you know what? I'm not getting into it. That's where I get a lot of my views. I remember making fun of Harrison Butker, and man, the red wave tried to come and get me. He's more masculine than you are. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. Meanwhile, I sound like this, and you talk like this. Ha ha. Nonetheless, I need to stop picking on Harrison Butker, but I'm not. Take that, Butt Army. Also, Butt Army is what me and my friends call them, the Butt Army. I wanted to call them the A Army, but more than likely not going to do that. Linda McGrath saying, good morning, Tip. Have a great show. Merci beaucoup. Bonjour. I hope that you are having yourselves a great day as well. I hope Mac is feeling better as he is on the road to recovery. Shout out to everyone over at National Streaming Sports who has stepped their game up in the absence of Mac as he is recovering from some illnesses that he is currently going through. I'm not going to disclose much more than that because I don't know much more than that. But I just know that it was awesome to see the way that this whole group over at National Streaming Sports has rallied around Mac, our fearless leader, whose only flaw is that he's a Giants fan. Other than that, he's a perfect man. But we all have our flaws. Mine is that I love the Dallas Cowboys and that I'm kind of a jerk. Mac's only flaw in this whole world is that he likes the New York Football Giants. An absolute garbage poverty franchise. I'm sorry, Mac. I hope you're laughing at that. I genuinely do. More than likely going to get kicked off the channel. But it's a Friday. We're having ourselves a good time here on this TIP VIP Friday. Over the last couple of days, we were talking about free agent signings, all of the free agent signings that have happened in both the AFC North, the NFC North, the AFC East. Yesterday, the AFC East, we can still say the road through the AFC East travels through Buffalo, and I don't even think that we can say like it's in doubt. And I know over the last couple of years, because Aaron Rodgers was there, everyone thought that maybe the New York Jets were going to be the team to usurp the Buffalo Bills and become the favorite in the AFC East, and it's just not going to happen. The AFC North, very interesting to see what happens there, what Pittsburgh is going to do at quarterback. You can already see guys like Cam Hayworth in Pittsburgh saying, I don't care about your dark retreat, Aaron Rodgers. You either want to be on the team or you don't. And whenever Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be on the team, it becomes an issue for Aaron Rodgers and solely Aaron Rodgers. Because even though I know Mireya, I don't know if she's watching right now, but I know Mireya says she doesn't think Aaron Rodgers is washed. If he ain't washed, he's in the laundry pile. He's about to be. Right? Like that's all it is. He's in our hands. We've already loaded him up in the washing machine. We added the detergent. We just haven't pushed the button yet. He's that close to about to be washed. He's about as washed can get. All we got to do is push the button. And I feel like the button is going to be nobody signing him, forcing him into retirement. And then I feel like what we get is another stage of Aaron Rodgers morphing into Brett Favre, where he has the retirement and then he comes back from the retirement, goes to a contending team, hopefully doesn't send a picture of anything that he shouldn't be sending a picture of, and the transformation of Aaron Rodgers turning into Brett Favre is almost complete. All he has to do is wait till about 20 years after retirement, or I guess 10 to 15 years after retirement, defraud a whole state, and then the transformation from Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre would be complete. Tommy Canazza saying, damn, Mac, the Giants? Of all the teams, the Giants? I will say I am glad that the Giants I think I need to come up with a shirt that says that, Tommy. Just sorry, Roku. Tommy Canazza saying, F Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Roku. That's always going to be my caveat there. Sorry, Roku. I didn't mean for this word to come out, but it did, and I apologize sincerely. Okay, so we went over the AFC East, the AFC North, the NFC North. This all started because I said Chicago is getting better. Speaking of the New York Football Giants, as we were talking about them earlier, this is what the Giants have done in free agency, and they've been busy. The Giants have been busy. They've put out a lot of contracts here. They got Paulson Adebo from the New Orleans Saints. They go out and they get Javon Holland, formerly of the Miami Dolphins. They re-sign Darius Slayton to a 3-year, $36 million deal. They get Chauncey Goldston from the Dallas Cowboys on a 3-year, $18 million deal. They get James Hudson, a right tackle from Cleveland, which I don't know why you would spend that much money on any offensive lineman from Cleveland, but it is what it is. He's not Joe Thomas. Then they go out and they bring in Roy Robertson Harris from the University of Texas at El Paso, and he is going to them from the Seahawks. They get Chris Board, a middle linebacker from the Baltimore Ravens. Jeremiah Ledbetter, a defensive tackle from the Jaguars. They re-sign Smith Marset. They go and they get a tackle, Stone Forsythe, for $1.3 million. Lil Jordan Humphrey, great name. Great name. He was on my fantasy team because last year, whenever my team was out of it, I decided that what I was going to do was just get teams on the team that have phenomenal names. Lil Jordan, Lil apostrophe Jordan Humphrey. Phenomenal name. He is staying on my dynasty team now. Want to give a shout out to Fat Irish, MD Hoyos, and Ricky Morales 76, who have all tuned in over on the Instagram side of things that we are doing, as we are live on all kinds of different platforms right now with the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. So, I mean, they signed a ton of players, but do any of those names actually mean something to you, right? Like, do any of them have any gravitas to them? And I think the overwhelming majority of people would say, not really, right? Like, obviously, you addressed a lot of defensive needs, and that's fantastic. You did a lot of that. But you also lost a few players to your in-division team rival in the Philadelphia Eagles. You lose Azeez Ojulari, who goes over to Philadelphia, Patrick Johnson and Adoree Jackson that go over to Philadelphia as well, and then Jason Pinnock, the free safety, going over to the San Francisco 49ers. The Giants are drafting 3rd overall, and a lot of people have the Giants eyeing Shedeur Sanders. Tommy Canazza saying, I like the Javon Holland signing at least. I like it too. As a free safety, you know that he's probably he'll more than likely lead the team in interceptions. He'll just be kind of roaming that backfield area, kind of like a center fielder, right? The Giants, and it's not me, again, dumping on the Giants or anything like that. The Giants just aren't a good enough team for that signing to really make a difference. They're drafting number 3 overall. People are saying maybe they go out and they get Shadur Sanders. I think there's a real possibility they go out and they get Shadur Sanders. There's also been talks from people like Adam Schefter saying that maybe, just maybe, the Giants are going to try to trade up to number 1 with Tennessee, do a pick swap along with a little bit of a package so that the Giants can go out and get Cam Ward. They're one of the few teams that I don't care what they do in free agency, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Jameis Winston, who's better than Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to die on that hill at this moment in time. Whether it's Russell Wilson, you have to go out and draft a quarterback of the future. I would like to see him, Cam Ward, behind a guy like Russell Wilson, a guy like Jameis Winston, more so than a guy like Aaron Rodgers. But if you go out and you get Cam Ward and you expect him to be your starting quarterback from day one in New York with the Giants, it is not going to end well. That's been an issue that the Giants, that some of the other teams have had, is they get a rookie quarterback, throw him into the fire with a 3-14 team, and expect him to turn the team around, and it just doesn't work that way. They should try to get Travis Hunter. They lost Adoree Jackson. Yeah. And that's what I would do, right? But, like, if Tennessee is going to draft Travis Hunter, like you don't want Cam Ward, you want to go out and you get Travis Hunter, I don't see a need for you to trade down, right? Unless there's a guarantee that you can say, okay, Giants, you're not going to trade, or you're not going to draft Travis Hunter, you're going to draft Cam Ward. Cleveland is more than likely going to draft Shadur Sanders or whoever's, whatever quarterback is available at number 2. They need a quarterback, so they're more than likely going to draft a quarterback. And then Travis Hunter at number 3 to Tennessee, maybe. But I don't see a scenario here where Tennessee genuinely trades this pick away just to select Travis Hunter 2 picks later, right? Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Draft him at number 1. It's going to inflate the ego a lot, so he's going to be happy. He's going to play harder for you. Maybe that's what they ought to do. Tommy's saying, I think they tank one more year for Archie. Tanking for Arch. Awful for Arch. That was my hashtag this season, this offseason, whenever the Dallas Cowboys announced that they were going to sign Brian Schottenheimer as their next head coach. Awful for Arch. That's where I want the Cowboys to be. 0-17, baby. 0-17. Get that number 1 overall pick. Draft Arch. You're awful for Arch. Shout out to James Steele who helped craft that. The Giants just have a lot. And I don't think drafting a quarterback is going to fix the issues with the Giants, right? Whenever you look at who all is going to be available, even if you stay at number 3, right? Let's just go with the hypothetical. Cam Ward is a number 1 overall pick. Cleveland goes and gets Shadur Sanders. Well, then now if you are the Giants, you have a shot at Travis Hunter. You have a shot at Tet McMillan. You have a shot at Will Campbell. You have you have your pick of the pie here. And especially in this draft, I don't think there's such a thing in this draft, this year's draft, as a clear-cut number 1 guy, right? Like there's not someone that you could say that's a can't-miss prospect in the NFL. Maybe it's Travis Hunter and then everyone else after that. But if Travis Hunter goes number 1 overall to Tennessee, Cam Ward goes number 2 overall to Cleveland, if you're the Giants, why don't you take a flyer on Abdul Carter, right? Like you need help on the defense, so why don't you do that? The Cowboys are winning 13 games this year, Mike. The Arch dream is dead. I know. They always find a way to prove me wrong and right at the same time. I hate that I love this team, and they're going to find a way to do it again. Like I genuinely feel like they're going to find a way to do it again, to just disappoint me the way that I disappoint my parents. Okay, so a team that's been extremely busy this offseason is the Washington Commanders. And I totally get it, right? Like you made it to the NFC Championship game. You got thoroughly flogged as though you didn't belong. And now you're doing all the stuff you can to try to make it back. The expectation now for Jaden Daniels is NFC Championship game or else it's a bust. And it might even be Super Bowl or bust. Like if he doesn't ever make an NFC Championship game again, his career will go down as a massive disappointment. So Washington goes out. They get Javon Kinlaw from Washington helping out on the defensive line because that's where they needed a lot of help, right? You couldn't stop Saquon Barkley. So you need to go out and address that horrid defensive line that you had. That's exactly what they do. They go out and they get Dietrich Wise as well. They bring in Eddie Goldman from the Falcons. They bring in Jalen Holmes. They bring in Sheldon Day. They've done a lot. Cleveland Farrell, to help out along their defensive line. They re-sign Marcus Mariota. They bring in Will Harris, the safety from the New Orleans Saints. They bring in Jonathan Jones, the cornerback from the New England Patriots. They re-sign Noah Brown. They bring in Jake Martin. Look at all these names, and you see a team that's focusing in on their defense, helping out the offensive line, getting some depth with Michael Detter at center to be right behind Tyler Biotish. Eddie Goldman, they re-sign him. KJ Osborne, they re-sign him. Kayvon Seymour, Trenton Scott, Jalen Holmes, Nick Bellor, Jeremy McNichols, Noah Igbiani. They re-sign all these guys to help run it back. They make a trade for Deebo Samuel. They make a trade for Laramie Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil going over to Washington, to me, solidifies them as, at minimum, the second best team in that division. Want to give a shout out to the IT girl, Jessica, who tuned in over on Instagram as well. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Mountain Time, which I think is 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Pacific. We do horrible numbers in Alaska and Hawaii because it's 6 a.m. Also, they don't have internet. Smoke signals. That's how I send the show out to them. Tommy Canazzo saying, I think they can even move back a few more spots and take Genty. That'll make their fan base forget about losing Barkley to the Eagles. I can see a scenario where Genty goes, even if Genty goes number 3, I don't think that's too much of a reach. If they have him projected at number 6 to the Raiders, I don't even think you move back. You just take your guy. Maybe you move back if there's enough draft picks that are in it. And again, guarantees that you're going to be able to get Ashton Genty. Adrian Zamudio saying, good morning to you, my friend. Hope you're doing well today. Tommy Cananza saying, I also love the trades for Laramie Tunsil and Deebo Samuel. They ain't playing. They're trying to win now while Daniels is on that rookie contract. And that's what it all comes down to, right? That rookie deal. If you can win on that rookie deal with your quarterback, you've done something. Before you got to pay him. And Jaden Daniels, if he has another season like he had last year, season number 3, he's going to be able to hold out and start asking for a new contract, and you're going to have to pay him. So now is the time. Now's the time to capitalize on it. Mireya Reyes saying Cowboys plus no expectations equals heartache or no heartache, problem solved. I wish that I could agree with you on that, Mireya, but the thing is I always have no expectations for the Cowboys, and they seem to find a way to even let me down. Whether I have expectations or not, the Dallas Cowboys find a way to let me down. There's a reason why I created the I hate that I love them shirt. It's because they will find a way. They always find a way. It's just like Jurassic Park, right? Where they're like, life will find a way. The Dallas Cowboys will find a way to disappoint you. With all the signings that Washington had, they did lose a fair amount of players. They lost Jonathan Allen going over to the Minnesota Vikings, De'Ami Brown, Jeremy Chin, Dante Fowler making it back to the Dallas Cowboys, Cornelius Lucas, Benjamin St. Just, Michael Walker, Derek Forrest, and Olamide Zaccheaus going over to Chicago. I like Olamide Zaccheaus going over to Chicago, giving Caleb Williams some more weapons. The Philadelphia Eagles, though, this has been a team that I believe has lost a lot. I believe they've lost a lot. Here's who they've brought in. They brought in Aziz Ojulari. They bring in Harrison Bryant, the tight end, Joshua Uke, the outside linebacker, Charlie Hewlett, the long snapper. Dallas Cowboys, the only team that kept their long snapper. Trent Sieg, that's our guy. They bring in Patrick Johnson, Adoree Jackson, A.J. Dillon, the running back from Green Bay, Avery Williams, and Kellen Granson. They bring him in. But the Philadelphia Eagles, these are the losses that the Philadelphia Eagles had. Shout out to Charles Johnson, 507, who tuned in over on Instagram. Got about 5 minutes left in the show, guys, so I got to try to fly through this, all right? They lose Milton Williams. Huge defensive tackle. He goes on a massive contract, $104 million over to the New England Patriots. They lose Josh Sweat, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, going over to the Arizona Cardinals. They lose cornerback Darius Slay. They lose offensive line help with Mekhi Becton. They lose Oren Burks. They lose Kenneth Gainwell, Isaiah Rodgers, and Fred Johnson. A lot of issues. Future Hall of Famer Trent Sieg, put some respect on that man's name. Mireya Reyes tuning in, knowing my nickname, especially whenever I put on my Hoochie Daddy shorts over whenever I start my job with UPS, my brown Hoochie Daddy shorts, Quadzilla. I think the Eagles are their championship window. I don't want to say it's closed, but I believe it's on the way down. And yeah, they won the Super Bowl. They did all they did. But man, you look at those losses. Those are some massive, massive losses. On the flip side, you have the Dallas Cowboys. They've been active. One of the rare times you can say the Dallas Cowboys have been active. The joke with the Dallas Cowboys was that they hadn't paid anybody in free agency over $6.5 million since they did it to Greg Hardy back in 2015. So what do? They go out and they get Dante Fowler at $8 million, baby. Woo! They bring him back, $8 million. They re-sign Brian Anger. They bring in Solomon Thomas. You look at what the Cowboys are doing. They're focusing on that defensive line. Trent Sieg, our guy, future Hall of Famer, they re-sign him. They bring in Robert Jones to add depth along the offensive line. They bring in Javonte Williams, who right now is running back number 1, and I am not happy if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. They bring in Peyton Turner. Once again, depth along the offense or the defensive line. Dakota Shipley, help along the offensive line. Israel Makamu, help in the secondary. Jack Sanborn, help in the linebacking core. And then Miles Sanders, help in the running back position. Who have the Dallas Cowboys lost? Well, they just lost DeMarcus Lawrence. That's going to be a big hit on a $32 million deal. They just lost Jordan Lewis on a $30 million deal. They lost Chauncey Golston on an $18 million deal. Did I call him Peyton Wilson? Nonetheless, Peyton Turner, my bad. I apologize, Tommy. They lose Chuma Aduga. They lose Cooper Rush. And then what I think is a big hit to the Dallas Cowboys, they lose Rico Dowdle. $2.7 million that they lost Rico Dowdle to. Meanwhile, they're paying $4.3 million for Javonte Turner or Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. I don't get what they did there. They should have just re-signed. They should have just re-signed him. Nonetheless, the show is coming to an end, everybody. I want to thank you so much for tuning into today's show. We'll be back on Monday. Support the people that support the show, and we'll see you after this weekend. Fire and Ice coming back this weekend as well at Buffalo Wild Wings. Sites out there, but don't be fooled. Some sites are legal in some states only. Some sites pay in Bitcoin, and some sites have even been hacked. However, BetUS has been in business for over 30 years. They have future bets that are paying out in the thousands, and there's still time for you to bet on the Super Bowl, the National Championship, and even the NBA Championship. Just use the QR code right here, and it'll take you to the BetUS site. BetUS. Check it out and bet responsibly. Are you a fellow car guy? I have a 2008 Ford Mustang GT convertible, and nothing makes me happier in that car than when it's nice and clean. You know who helps me get there? RevAutoCarCare.com. They help me get that pony looking as nice and shiny and ready for any of the car meetups that are all around the great city of El Paso. Spoil your car and go to RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton and view all the inventory they have and find out what works for you to help make your ride shine. RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton. Use promo code Tipton33 at checkout to save 15%.